We're back with our breaking news out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and live images inside the arena where the president will speak in just hours. This massive campaign rally that's planned, and we've just learned 6 campaign staffers doing advance work on this event have now tested positive for coronavirus. And this arena can hold nearly 20,000 people. Think about that. Thousands of people packed into an arena in the middle of this coronavirus pandemic. Masks are optional, but waivers are required. Attendees must agree they won't sue if they get sick. Joining us now is former Republican Congresswoman of Utah, Mia Love, and Angela Rye, former Executive Director for the Congressional Black Caucus and host of On One with Angela Rye. So, Congresswoman Love, the president has called this rally tonight the start of his re-election campaign. But is this the way to begin, with people getting sick and potentially thousands more also in danger of getting sick?
Well, yeah, it's certainly not ideal. It's not a good idea. I'm actually really concerned about not just the people that are going to potentially get sick, but how it's actually going to hurt families. We've got over 21 million unemployed right now, and if there is another major outbreak, then you're going to see that that people are going to suffer quite a bit more than just the virus. They're going to suffer economically. They're going to have a hard time putting food on the table. So I think that if they're going to do this rally, they should really take some major precautions and make masks mandatory, at least warn people and let them know there are people who have tested positive. I think that they could be doing a little bit more.
Why do you think that the Trump campaign is proceeding forward in the way that they are? You just laid out exactly why maybe this isn't a good idea. And as you know, Oklahoma isn't a state the president needs to win over. It's solidly behind him.
Well, I think that he's seriously concerned about making sure he rallies his people. As you can see, there are people that are coming in. They don't care that there's a potential outbreak. They just want to see the president, and he wants to be able to get his base and rally his base before elections. So this is something that I think is purely for the campaign. He wants to get his people together and rally them, and he's leaving it up to them and saying, I want you to come. But I just don't really think it's a good idea right now. I think he could wait a little bit, but I'm not on the campaign. So.
Okay, Angela, you look at the images and people have been lining up for days ahead of this rally. Local affiliates say some people have been in line since Sunday or Monday. So there is clearly excitement there. Should that level of excitement worry Democrats?
No, I think what should worry American people overall is the ways in which this president traffics in racism, the ways in which he engages in dog whistle politics. I'm hardly concerned about the numbers of people who, continue to support, or I should say I'm very concerned about the number of people who continue to support Donald Trump, not only in the wake of the coronavirus crisis, but in the wake of the other crisis that I think Mia Love also identifies with. It's a pandemic within a pandemic. It's called racism. It's called white supremacy. It's called systemic oppression. And the fact that Donald Trump is in Tulsa, I don't want us to just kind of paint broadly about the fact that he's in Tulsa, which is known to be Black Wall Street, which 99 years ago was burned to the ground by people who traffic in the same type of rhetoric, racism, racist policies that Donald Trump pushes. So I don't want to just kind of turn a blind eye to that. Sure, he moved the rally back a day, but Juneteenth was just yesterday. Donald Trump is crediting himself with making Juneteenth famous, and he hasn't, right? I think instead of focusing on trying to get folks to endanger, themselves health-wise, including the 6 staffers on his advance team, he should be trying to figure out how to lean into what it means to be an oppressor himself and figure out how he's going to not only garner support for whatever's left in his term, but also turn a page to being a person who is an ally and a conspirator for what is right, instead of trafficking into what is so very wrong.
Congresswoman, what do you make of that tweet the president sent out lumping together protesters, anarchists, agitators, looters, or lowlifes, that's quote, and basically saying they wouldn't be afforded gentle treatment if they gather at his event?
As you know, I have some major issues with the personality of the president. I think it's unfortunate. I think that the Twitter usage gets exhausting. It's horrible in so many cases. But a president of the United States should be a president for all people. And the lowlives that he talks about are still the people that he represents. And I've mentioned this over and over again, that a president should be uniting. You cannot unite the American people by shoving a wedge, continuously shoving a wedge between the American people. And I think that we are more divided than we have been in a very, very long time. And it's really unfortunate. I wish that the Twitter would go away and somebody would be, he would be a little bit more presidential. And I can say this also, that in the many years that I've been in politics, serving as a mayor or as a member of Congress, not one time, and I criticized President Barack Obama quite a bit, he actually never came after me publicly. He realized that he had he had to make sure that he represented all of us. And so I think that is, you know, Republican or not, you have to still be presidential and you have to represent the American people.
Quickly, because I do want to get Angela back into the conversation, but I do want to just follow up real fast with you, Congresswoman, which is, you know, after all that has transpired recently, do you still support this president? Will you vote for him in November?
Well, I have not said if I'm voting for anybody. I have a hard time with Joe Biden and some of the policies and even some of the statements that he's made. So I have not, I don't even know who, if anybody, I'll be voting for.
Okay, Angela, go ahead.
I
know you wanted to get in, but I have another question if you want me to ask instead.
I'm not confused. I'm just trying to take a minute so that I can be effective in what I want to say next. I think it is a mistake of the people to merely put this aside as personality. We're talking about someone who has just an extreme amount of power in their role. I think it is unfortunate for us to compare the policies, the verbal lashings, the harassment, the statements that Donald Trump has made, from calling NFL players who kneel sons of bitches to calling protesters who are literally on the streets fighting for their survival lowlifes. I refuse to traffic in that. And I know, like, I'm the first person to acknowledge, I've written op-eds about it. Joe Biden is no, like, Michael the Archangel. But what I won't do is make it seem like this is two sides of the same coin. And so I hope that all of us on this segment and all of us sitting at home can understand the importance not only of this election, but of our political power, and that we never use it to turn a blind eye to someone who is this dangerous. He is dangerous, and we have to call it what it is. I don't want to sit on segments and talk about how it's abnormal. It's more than abnormal. It is dangerous. People are on the streets because they're fighting for their lives. And it's time for us to pay that type of attention and that type of respect to the people who are using their platforms in the ways in which they are.
Angela Rye and former Congresswoman Mia Love, I really appreciate both your perspectives. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.